And we are live, everybody. Welcome to what I believe is session 8 of our campaign here. Yes, indeed it is. So welcome to session 8 of the Burden of Honor. And we'll start out the same way as we always do. Does anybody remember what happened last time?
I do, because we were talking about it before the recording started a little bit.
Ooh, now who's fancy? All right. Do you want to do the recap then?
I rolled kind of poorly on a dex roll, and I am now floating downstream in a river.
Okay, what happened before that?
You might want to provide some context beyond that.
Okay, that's all I know, because we were talking about it before we started.
Dun, dun,
My memory is horrible.
All right, well, how about this? See if this jogs your memory. Do you remember which dragon you retrieved your piece of the heart from?
The Dragon of Darkness?
Mm-hmm, the Shadow Dragon. And do you remember what you had to do for the Shadow Dragon in order to get your piece of your heart?
We had to help him with the Moon Daughter romance thing.
Okay, do you wanna elaborate at all on that?
So the Moon has a daughter.
Work to turn him into a dragon, money.
She was in love with the Dragon Lord of Darkness, and we ended up having to give him a hat so he could go out into the moon.
Okay.
So that they could be together.
Yep, that's pretty accurate. Kuryokuma
I
also...
think you should have made him a mummy.
Yeah, well, you did ask your magical crystal if that would work, and it said doubtful, so... I think that kind of covers the odds of that having worked for you.
I just had to be funny.
Yeah, no. I don't know, as soon as you said that, I was definitely picturing him just wrapped up in, like, wrapping paper, like Christmas wrapping paper. And so... That was definitely an amusing image, just a dragon completely wrapped up in, like, snowmen and Rudolph. So yeah, you were able to solve the problem that the Shadow Dragon had, where he wouldn't come out in moonlight, and the Moon Daughter could only come out in moonlight, and so it was keeping them separate. However, by putting a wide-brimmed hat on the Shadow Dragon, you were able to solve the problem. He's able to stay out of the moon, she's able to stay in the moon, and they can at least stand awkwardly next to each other holding hands now.
He's the Shadow. He's got a wide-brimmed hat and everything.
Yep.
He just needs a long cloak and a red scarf.
So after that, you guys decided that you were going to, you did decide to go back to the waterfall, right? To meditate under that while waiting for the Dragon of Light?
Yes.
That's what I'm pretty sure that's what you guys decided to do. But either way, regardless of your destination, as you were trying to get there, you were trying to pass this bridge where we find ourselves today. And partway across, the bridge started to break under the ponderous weight of all of Akaihebi's belongings, which he has forced his poor, unfortunate, hunchbacked servant to carry across all of Japan and back.
Poor, unfortunate souls in pain, in need.
And so as the bridge crumbled underneath of you, somehow miraculously, none of your servants fell in. All of them managed to get off either one side or the other safely. But Akaihebi rolled just barely under the requirements. If I remember correctly, yeah, you only failed by 2. And only because on the die, you got a 5. Because your bonus is 13. You have a good bonus. Megane, on the other hand, she has a -10 to her reflex save because she's a klutz. And so she didn't have a chance. Regardless of what she rolled, she was going to fall in. She ended up with, I believe, -2. Yeah, -2 was her final result. So she definitely fell into the river. And we're going to retcon just a little because Anna is gone. And so rather than jumping in to save you, Kuryokuma is going to do what Anna's original plan actually was before we changed her mind. And that is to run to the other side of the bank and then try to run along the bank and keep up with you and perhaps somehow save you that way. Spoilers, that doesn't work because the river is flowing faster than she can run. And so Kuryokuma quickly disappears into the distance as you are rushing headlong down this river. Kawa, you did dive in order to save someone. So now that's the question. Who are you swimming toward? Who are you trying to save here? And then I'm going to need a swim check from everybody.
I am going. Kawa is definitely going to try to save a Kai Heavy.
Okay. So then I will need a swim check from both Kawa and Akai Hebi. See what you get. Okay, Kai Hebi did pretty decent.
I move my arms and legs in the water.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you are able to stay above the water, Akai Hebi, and Kawa, with your 25, you're able to reach him and kind of try to get one arm over him to try and hold him up as well. And the river goes rushing down. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
That's skills. Nope, that's skills. Perception.
Dear God.
Okay. So, Akai Hebi, you don't notice at all, but Kawa, you notice a faint kind of roar in the background. One that you pretty...
Faint what?
Roar. R-O-A-R.
Whoa.
You pretty quickly you pretty easily are able to determine that that's definitely either a waterfall or some upcoming rapids, one or the other.
Only Rebecca's character noticed that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So as you're being carried very quickly down the river, and you can see the river disappears around a corner in front of you, and you're not sure what's past it, except Kawa, being able to hear it, is pretty sure that it's either a series of rapids or a waterfall. And as you're coming a little bit closer to the corner, Megane comes kind of like spluttering out of the water, and she grabs a hold of Akai Hebi. So the three of you are all kind of in a bunch right now.
Oh yay!
Okay, so nobody takes any actions. So the three of you are swept around the corner.
I don't get to make another swim check to see if we get to the edge?
I mean, you can. I was waiting. I was just sitting there, waiting for somebody. I set the scene. I was waiting for action.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to say more, because sometimes you do that. So,
so Kala says, swim hard. There's, I'm going to just say rapids. There's rapids ahead, and I'm going to start swimming really hard towards the sandbar, so the inner side of the turn.
Okay.
I'm going to swim with her, so I'm going to do another check.
Okay. So the two of you definitely get pretty good results. In fact, I believe Rebecca crit.
She did.
I did.
So you guys definitely get good results. But Megane is definitely struggling. So you're going to have to choose. Either you can keep pushing forward and you can make progress toward the shore, but Megane is going to become dislodged from your group and essentially float down on her own. Or you can try to stick together.
Try to stick together.
Okay. So you are able to use your swim check to actually rather than kind of force your way toward the edge, you stay as a group and you make some amount of progress toward the edge, but you're mostly just trying to stay above the water. Wayne, do you have your armor still off in the calculation of your swim check?
Yes.
Okay.
I think. Let me double check.
Just make sure that the armor penalty is applying there, because it should be. I'm pretty sure at this point you would have had that on.
Yeah, it is on. Okay.
Okay. So that roll is including your armor check penalty.
Yes.
Okay, that's good then. So I guess you.
What's happening with our servants or whatnot at this time?
So you heard a lot of yelling and running, but you've quickly been swept well beyond being able to see or hear them. You know that Kuryokuma was running along the shoreline trying to reach you with a rope in hand, presumably intending to throw it out toward you, but he was unable to keep up with the rapid pace of the water either. So last you knew, they were on the beach next to the river. Because as I mentioned, as the bridge was collapsing, the guy who was in the ones that were in front of you were able to get off on one side, and the ones that were behind you were able to get off on the other.
Lucky devils. Yep.
Okay, so you're able to make some progress toward the edge of the shoreline, and you're as you come whipping around the corner, that actually propels you even slightly further toward the edge. But just as you are imagining that you might be able to reach the edge, the roar becomes far too loud for any of you to ignore. And directly in front of you, maybe 4 or 5 seconds away, is the edge of a waterfall of unknown height.
Well, donkey spittle.
How far away from us is Megane?
She's still with
the group.
you. You chose to kind of stick together rather than kind of pushing Megane off, because you had a choice. You could either literally push her off of you and swim to shore, or you could continue to try and support each other and make significantly less progress, because Megane cannot swim, and her robes are now very waterlogged and just tangling everything up. So she's definitely not helping in this situation. Her physical clumsiness is not an asset when it comes to swimming in a rapid river.
Yeah. Okay. So, how far away are we from shore at this point?
You are about 20 to 30 feet away from the shore.
Okay, so
at this point, Kawa could go off on her own and make it. But even a Kai Hebi, even if he pushed Megane off and went Lone Ranger, you're gonna go over before you reach the edge.
This is going to be a really stupid question as someone who has hardly ever swam. But could I possibly, just using brute strength, because I don't have that much, anyway, like try to throw the women folk closer to the shore?
No.
Or push them closer to the shore?
No. No, that is physically impossible.
Okay, I thought so, but I wanted to know. Because I'm kind of worried about us all going over the edge, and if I could save them, I'd rather do that, I think, than, all of us die.
Okay, well, we've got to make some snap decisions here.
Would I have a rope on my person?
Yes, you would probably have a rope on your person.
I do as well.
But by the time you reach the edge of the shore, they're basically going to be over the cliff, and so you're not really going to have time to throw it to them.
Well, I was hoping to hand it to him and then run off.
I don't think the river is flowing fast enough. I don't think you'd be able to find footing and actually hold two people against that kind of a current.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess we're all going over the waterfall because I'm not leaving you Kai heavy.
Okay. That's the breaks then. All right, so the three of you, yelling rather loudly, go screaming over the edge of the waterfall.
I always loved you and I could never tell you! Not really.
As you look over the precipitous edge, you see that this is definitely a high waterfall. It descends probably about 60 feet into a churning, bubbling cauldron of water below you. And you can see spreading out in front of you an enormous valley that eventually exits out into the ocean. But that view is only there for a moment before it is replaced with the sight of the ground, or more accurately, the water below you, rushing to meet you, or you to it, as is your point of reference. And then, with a sickening, crunching, swirling sound, everything goes black.
No.
Dun dun dun.
And that's the end of the game, folks. Not really.
I don't actually. I should have put together a piece for this, but I didn't. So you guys are just gonna have to sit on a blank map for a minute once I put it together. Okay. No. Yes. Okay. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. You to be white. And you to be blue. Alright, that's better. I totally forgot about this transition between the two scenes and the fact that I would actually need something put together for it.
No, that's okay.
So I have this current scene, I have the scene coming up, and I don't have this one. So that's what's going on here while I put this together. How about, does one of you want to have some weird fever dream?
Mm-hmm.
Does one of us want to have weird what?
Some weird fever dream? As your unconscious bodies are presumably floating down the river?
Not really.
We should tell each other's weird unconscious.
There we go. Okay, so Rebecca, what is a Kai Heavy's weird fever dream?
In a Kai Heavy's dream, he's making love to an extremely beautiful woman with long red hair. But as the scene progresses, he looks away for a moment. When he looks back, there's not a woman there, it's a fox. And he screams and wakes up.
Okay, so I mean, we know that the Kai Heavy's into foxes. So now we really know that a Kai Heavy is into foxes.
Wow.
All right, Wayne, what is Kawa's weird fever dream?
Kawa's weird fever dream is that she's one of the fish guardians of the first castle that we went to.
And she gets eaten by a fox?
Sure, why not? She gets eaten by a fox, and then she is swimming through the fox's intestines trying to find an exit.
Yeah, and then some sort of weird sparrow starts showing up and singing a song about the Ballad of Lemmy-Winks. The South Park reference none of you will get.
Oh, okay. I need to watch more of that.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, so she's swimming through all of the intestines and stuff trying to find an exit, and the dream somehow goes longer than she's, like the time in the dream takes longer than she's actually out. So it feels like she's been swimming for like years inside of this thing's guts. And then she just wakes up.
That works. So, okay, Heavy, you, after sitting up, you wake up screaming after realizing that you just did it with a fox, and wondering whether or not you might actually be a furry. And you sit up and you're back in your house. Back where you used to sleep in the Bjorkren lands. Your mother is sitting in a bed, or not in a bed, sitting at a table next to your bed. She seems to have a scroll that she's reading, and she has a furrowed brow. You feel warm, as if perhaps you're feverish. Your sheets and bedspread are all soaked around you. This is the part where you say a thing that you do.
No.
Oh, thank God, it was all a dream or something.
I had this horrible dream, Mom.
Is that what you're doing?
No. Hang on. I'm sorry. I had just taken a mouthful of snow cones, so I was having to unbrain freeze. So the bed is all wet around me?
Yes.
You said?
Yeah, the bed is completely soaked, and so are the clothes that you're wearing. You can only imagine it is your own perspiration and or other bodily fluids.
Ah, what the heck? I'll go with it. Ah, Mom, I had a horrible dream.
So you look over at your mother, and she looks back and looks you straight in the eyes and says, "You're not my son." And then you wake up again! Except this time...
It's a dream within 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 a dream.
This time, can you guys see?
We're on a turtle.
Yep.
Maturin!
You're floating. You're floating on the. You're floating gently on the ocean on the back of a turtle. Kawa, you've been awake for about 3 minutes. What have you done in the last 3 minutes? Kaihebi has been lying unconscious in the shell.
I probably have him cradled in my lap, trying to make sure he's okay and breathing and stuff.
Okay. So yes, that catches us up, both up to the current moment. Kaihebi, you are now presumably
I'm going to say
awake.
that I startle awake and just like jump up and probably nearly hit you in the face.
You are in no physical condition to jump up anywhere.
Oh, okay. I start to have that reaction and then scream in pain!
Yes, you have what you can only assume are broken ribs, bruised and battered all over. You are not feeling great. Now, you're not coughing up water, but only because presumably someone's already helped you to squeeze that out of your lungs already.
Oh, that was horrible. And this is horrible. Ow, 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 ow.
How bad of shape is Kawa in?
You are practically unscathed.
Yes.
That's what happens because you stretch out and stay flexible. You just bent right around those rocks.
I'm going. Kawa smooths Akai Heavy's brow and says, "It's alright, just relax. We seem to be safe for now."
The turtle swivels its head back around to look at you and goes, "Oh, good, you're both awake." I was beginning to worry about you, especially Akai Heavy. You've been unconscious for a couple of hours at this point. I was beginning to worry there might be permanent damage.
Are you okay, Kawa? Where's Megane? Oh, is that a talking turtle?
Is the turtle's voice familiar?
The voice is not. However, go ahead. Probably a perception check.
We do. Do a what check?
Probably perception. I think in this context. So yeah, Kawa, you definitely recognize this as the turtle that you saved from. Oh wow, Wayne is just oblivious. Okay, you're pretty sure that at some point this turtle was your dad. Kawa, you recognize this as definitely being the turtle that you saved from Donald Trump and his cronies.
But it's much smaller. Or, I mean, bigger.
Oh yes, it is much bigger than when you saved it. But it still has some of like the nicks that they had put in its shell, and its coloration matches exactly. So yeah, you recognize it for sure as being that turtle.
Okay, cool.
Or well, tortoise.
Father?
I'm just kidding. You don't actually think it's your dad.
Is it actually a tortoise or a turtle?
It is a tortoise.
So we're not in water?
You are in water. This is a swimming tortoise. I don't care. It's a big turtle with a shell and it swims. But
it's the kind that lives in water.
So yeah, I guess technically it's a turtle because it doesn't have like the feet. It's got flippers. So yes, it is technically a turtle.
Okay.
Now that we've cleared that up, that taxonomy was very important, and we have it 100% straightened out now. It's a type of turtle.
Sorry. Okay. So Kala is gonna say, "Oh, thank you so much for saving us," and I don't know exactly what's going on.
Yes, no, it's the least I could do after you saved me. You see, I was swimming about when I saw several large objects, or 2 large objects, I should say, floating out of the mouth of the river into the ocean. When I went to examine them, it was you two, so I mean, I could only return the favor. I spoke to someone who claims to have been a friend of yours, some sort of talking bird.
Oh, would it have been Tongue-Cut Sparrow?
It didn't leave a name, but it certainly was some sort of sparrow, though I can't imagine its tongue was cut out, considering how fluent it was. It told me that your friend, I forget his name, something about a bear, and your servants were safe, and that they were coming toward the ocean and would meet you there when possible. I hope this is good news. I didn't just give your position away to someone who wishes you harm, I hope.
Oh no, that is excellent news. It is indeed a close friend of ours, and has been with us for a long time.
It's been with us for like probably a few weeks.
Most of this journey? I don't know.
Kaihebi, you look absolutely terrible. It seems that you've been very badly injured. I can take you to my father. He should be able to heal you if you were willing.
That sounds lovely. Ow, because everything hurts. Even breathing is not any fun. Oh.
All right then. So, would you like me to swim you to the bottom of the ocean?
Can I breathe?
do you say that?
Yes.
Oh yes, of course. Silly me. You humans can't breathe underwater like so many of my friends. Here, and so she hands you each a small white pearl. And she instructs you.
Shiny.
She says, "These pearls will allow you to breathe underwater. Go ahead and swallow them, please."
Gulp.
Okay. So you swallow the pearls.
I hesitantly gulp.
You swallow the pearls, and nothing seems to happen, but she quickly says, all right, we're good to go then. And she dives under the water. And miraculously, even though it feels like breathing in a really thick fog, like it's slightly hard to breathe and it just feels a little soupy. But other than that, it seems to be working. And you quickly descend deep under the ocean. As you're going along, you exit kind of the higher strata of the ocean where there are more familiar fish, and then as you go deeper, we're not going like anglerfish deep, but you know, definitely deeper to where there are fish that are less often seen in the nets of the fishermen who live in around the Byakuran lands. Larger fish.
I'm glad we're not going anglerfish deep because those things are freaking scary.
Wayne, if that jar is broken, you need to throw it away.
I had an idea for it though.
Okay.
You pass a pod of whales as you go down and other things, and then as you progress deeper and deeper, eventually that comes into view. You may not be able to see it.
Nope, it's black.
Yep, it's black.
How about now?
I see me.
Okay.
I see me.
Global illumination, I need you. How's that?
Nope.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Let's see. Fog of War is enabled. There we go. Turn that off. How about now?
Ooh.
Um,
Kind of scary though. There's lots of sharks.
Yes, there are actually quite a few very large, dangerous aquatic animals and mammals down here. And so you progress down to where you're kind of landing over by this glowing tree, and the turtle kind of alights on the platform, and several fish kind of come up and quickly help the two of you off, and kind of put Akai Heavy on a stretcher. And then you see the turtle do this. Can you see it?
Sexy, I guess? I don't know.
So she turns into a human.
Woo!
With dragon
Encircled
ghost.
by a dragon?
Yes. As
Nice.
she does the transformation, this ghostly dragon does emerge. She pretty quickly is brought clothing and does don robes, but yeah. She's definitely naked while she's transforming into a human form. Okay.
So the question is, am I the only one that whistles, or does Rebecca as well? Just kidding.
You whistle at someone that just saved your life like an ass.
I think Akai Heavy would whistle, except he's in too much pain, like his lips are broken.
My lips are broken.
It doesn't really phase Kala. Naked things don't really matter to
I
Kala
know.
unless it's a guy
silly.
heavy.
I was being.
Okay, so then she says, quickly, this man is injured. We need to bring him to my father. And so you are carried / escorted by a series of servants, as well as the princess. Over here. Large feast room that looks suspiciously familiar.
Wow, they all have the same decorator.
So,
We should have this thing where we like meet the dragon decorator.
go. And so a man who also looks suspiciously familiar, quickly enters and says, "Oh, who's this that you've brought into my to my halls?" And so she says, "Oh, father, this is the man I was telling you about, the one who saved me when Donald Trump and his cronies were trying to kill me." And He's terribly injured. There seems to have been some horrible accident on the river. He says, "Oh yes, bring him over." So they put you on a table/bed thingy, and he immediately starts ministrating with magic, and you immediately start feeling better as your bone and sinew and flesh knits itself back together, and after a few minutes, you are feeling good as new. Oh, and I shouldn't be here. Oh.
So while the ocean dragon king guy is ministering to Akai Heavy, Kala is going to ask the ocean princess if there was anyone else near us, because we were traveling with a third friend and she seems to be missing.
Oh no, I'm terribly sorry. Unfortunately, it was only the two of you. But if you want, I can have some of my servants head out and scour the shoreline. Perhaps perhaps your friend washed up somewhere else.
Yes, that would be greatly appreciated. And then I give her a fairly accurate description of Megane.
And you're just like, she's ugly, buck teeth. She has tiny boobs. She wears these really dumb-looking glasses.
Including the tattoo on the hip that I noticed.
Okay. Yes. So you described that there was a stylized flame tattoo on her hip. So yeah. She's like, oh, okay, very well. I will instruct my servants immediately, and kind of scampers off.
Okay.
Do you want to do anything else before Akai Heavy is healed up? Because he should be good as gold here in a minute.
Nope, that was it.
Okay. So after a couple of minutes, Akai Heavy, you are feeling completely better. As good as ever, if not better than you have ever felt in your entire life.
That feels so much better. Thank you very much.
That's the least I could do, considering you saved my daughter from a rather ignoble fate. I do believe you're here for your piece of the piece of your heart.
Well, to be honest, I was planning to come here eventually for that, although I wouldn't say I'm really here for it so much as happenstance.
Too bad.
Quite
you can't
lucky
have it.
happenstance.
No, he doesn't say that.
So yes, if it wouldn't be too much trouble, I would appreciate to have my heart back.
Well, considering that you've saved my daughter, I feel that you've certainly earned it. However, I can't just give it to you that easily. So how about this? You spend a week here in my castle. I will house and dine you and show you a fine time, and thanks for your saving my daughter. And then at the end of that time, I will give you the piece of your heart and send you on your way.
What do you want, baby
I
doll?
can't think of any reason why staying here for a week shouldn't be
All right, cover
entirely
your eyes
pleasurable.
then.
So the princess is all like, oh yes, that would be great. I'm excited to have you here. I will have to show you around, but first I would imagine after everything that you've been through, would you like a bath?
Am I not actually kind of getting a bath right now?
No. This is very different. You see, I believe you Japanese have the concept of a hot spring.
Yes, we do.
Well, we actually have something that is fairly similar down here, though it's not quite like yours, where you sit in one. In fact, and only part of you is covered unless you are willing to dunk yourself. Instead, we have hot springs where the entire room is warm, and it's incredibly rejuvenating. Said to keep one young, even.
Well, that sounds delightful. I think I shall have to try that.
Okay.
While the opportunity is presented,
So the king indicates his approval of this idea, and then is called off by a servant to attend to some other matter, and the two of them kind of start muttering back and forth as he's going down another hall. And so the dragon princess, she takes you by the hand, which is actually an incredibly forward and inappropriate for your culture. It would be very odd for someone to touch you at all, let alone hold hands with you, who you've known for such a short period of time. But she doesn't seem fazed by it in the least, and she takes you off across out of the throne room that you're in now. Kawa, are you planning to come along?
Sorry, it was breaking up.
Kawa is dead.
Yeah, Kala comes along.
Okay.
But she's really pouty.
Are you insanely jealous?
What?
Are you insanely jealous?
Kala's pouty. Kind of quiet and
Well,
sullen.
considering that the hand-taking was an odd gesture, I probably reacted to it by pulling away a little bit, so what would the princess's reaction to that have been?
She doesn't seem to be bothered at all. She kind of just hangs on anyway and continues to pull you in the direction she wants you to go. So unless you're going to be like, oh God, and like physically pull your hand away, she's not going to let go.
I'll just go with it.
Okay. So she leads you out of the throne room where you are and across out into a wide garden area where there are beautiful seaweeds floating around and other aquatic plant life, colorful kelp, and anemones dotting the ocean. Everything is swaying and undulating peacefully as you walk by. Small polyps disappear and hide into their shells and then reappear shortly as you pass. Eventually, she leads you through a section of this of the city that is a little bit further away from the castle. You can see as you look out, there's a huge pod of sharks, but they seem to be hunting with spears rather than with their teeth. And they are carrying in nets behind them a large number of fish. And there's also, as you go further by, a pod of dolphins, similarly carrying nets, but in these they have various more plant-like edibles, sea cucumbers, and other fauna and flora from the ocean floor. And you eventually come to an area that there are stacks of stone coming out of the ocean, and at the top of them, there are vents which are giving off a mixture of steam and just like bubbles. And the closer you get, you feel the water getting warmer. And then as you approach closer, you feel this warmth suffusing your body and this cleansing feeling similar to what you would describe as like a breath of fresh air if you were on the surface, but whatever it is, it seems to be something in the water instead. And she takes you to a kind of a lounging area that has these kind of roped, it's like almost harnesses. It's not so much chairs, it's just like harnesses that kind of keep you relatively tethered in place on the ocean. And kind of gets in one and indicates that you should get in another, and then kind of begins to disrobe.
I will begin to disrobe as well and use the ropes to keep myself from going off.
Yeah.
into the blue.
Kawa, what about you?
Yeah, Kawa follows along.
Okay. So the three of you,
How close are you to me, Kawa? Like distance.
2 inches.
One harness space apart? I mean, I'm probably the next harness over, assuming it's free.
So she's kind of the harnesses are pretty loose. So depending on the currents and any manipulation on her part, she could be anywhere from like 5 feet away from you to literally rubbing shoulders.
I move myself a little bit away from the princess and get close enough to Kawa to hold Kawa's.
You're gonna hold
That's
Kawa's
unusual,
hand.
but okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to send a subtle signal to the princess that took my hand.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't belong to you.
So, yep,
Nobody owns me.
I own people. Nobody owned me. Your poor servants. Okay.
Yeah, they're probably off partying somewhere.
Maybe. You do realize Kuryokuma is in charge right now.
Eek.
He might be eating the servants.
We just get back and there's just all these skeletons in her pocket. But
Yeah, no, I could definitely see Kuryokuma eating the servants. So she says, I can't imagine you've ever been to the Sea Kingdom before. You must have some questions. I'd be happy to answer anything.
Nah, I come here all the time.
Oh, fascinating. I'm surprised I haven't ever seen you before.
I was being sarcastic. I've never been here.
Well, you should strive for honesty in all matters.
Give him a break. He's only got half a heart.
Well, I think he has more than half a heart now, because he's got only 2 pieces left.
3 pieces.
Oh no, he does need 3 more pieces. That's right. So yeah, he's got exactly half. You're right. I forgot. Okay. So she says, well, tell me about your quest then. I'm curious about that if you're not curious about anything here.
I'd say I wasn't curious about anything here.
Well, you should have asked. I offered.
I was curious as to hunting with, weapons as opposed to using their natural teeth.
Oh, well, they do both. But if you have a sword, wouldn't you use that if you could rather than going at something with your teeth? It's
Well,
not
I
as
suppose
though...
so, but I've never seen a shark use a tool before. It seems rather peculiar.
Yes, well, we hadn't seen naked monkeys use tools before, but things change.
Who are you calling a naked monkey?
Well, you do realize that your ancestors weren't nearly as sophisticated as you were. I can't imagine you believe that the quality of smithing that is required for something as beautiful and intricate as your sword has always been around.
No, of course not. I was speaking out of place.
Don't worry about it at all. I find your honesty actually quite charming. I don't speak to humans too terribly often. Unfortunately, generally my interactions with them are relatively unpleasant. I usually avoid them when possible.
What caused those boys we ran off to bother you so?
Spite, I would imagine. Some problem at home. You know how children can be. Their father probably hit them.
Yes, probably. So what can you tell me about your way of life here
Oh, well.
that differs from humanity?
I'm not terribly equipped to tell you that. I'm not all that familiar with humanity's way of life.
Well,
it seems we're at an impasse here.
Well,
Do you have any
how
questions?
does one go to the bathroom around these parts?
Well, it depends. Number 1 or number 2? Well, we can return to the subject of your quest. I heard Father saying something about a piece of your heart. That seems rather odd.
Yes. My heart was extracted from my body and broken into 6 pieces and distributed among all of the dragon lords.
How would such a thing happen? That's incredible.
I was chosen, in a manner of speaking, by what's the wolf person's name?
Amaterasu.
Amaterasu to be the next shogun of Japan. But first, I must prove my worth.
No.
Oh, so
I'm on a quest to regain all the pieces of my heart.
Oh, so you intend to be the next ruler of Japan to defeat all of those warring, not shogun, daimyo. All of those warring daimyo who have been causing trouble and strife in Japan for so long?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose if it is my destiny, I must try to fulfill it.
I only wish there was something I could do to help with that. It seems a noble cause. Perhaps something will come to me.
Well, if you have a pearl that can get us under the water, maybe you have a pearl that can make those armed sharks go on to land.
Oh, of course they can go on land. Of course they can go on land.
Yeah.
If we
That's nightmare fuel.
Oh yes, the last time that we ended up attacking humans, they did not come back a second time.
Well, perhaps if I need some extra muscle, I could give you I was going to give you a call, but that doesn't really work in this time frame.
I believe I may have a solution.
I'll send you a messenger fish.
I actually,
there we go.
I actually do. I do think I have a solution, but I would have to speak with my father first.
What solution do you have in mind?
She must speak with her father first.
I wouldn't want to say unless I've cleared it with my father. I do not wish to speak out of turn.
Oh, by all means, feel free to talk to him when you're ready, then.
Okay. So she kind of puts her clothes back on. And, she puts her clothes
back on.
And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go speak with my father. Feel free to relax here as long as you want. And if you, when you return, if you cannot remember the way, any of the denizens here can easily guide you back to the castle. Please do not stay out past nightfall, though. It does get a bit dangerous out here after dark.
I'll keep that in mind, and thank you for your hospitality.
So she bows and then swims off toward the castle.
I bow to her appropriately, wait for her to be a good ways off, and then I say to Kawa, she was a little bit free with grabbing my hand in there. There's something about her that's just a little bit off-putting to me.
Perhaps it's just that she's more comfortable without the rules of society than you're used to.
And then as Rebecca says that, in the background, there's like 2 dolphins humping.
Well, you know, dolphins are one of the few animals that have sex just for the fun of it.
Yeah, I'm aware.
You wouldn't know that.
I wouldn't know that, but me out of character does, and that's how I was speaking.
So, yep. That's a thing that happens while Rebecca says about being more free.
I kind of shrug in an uncomfortable manner and say, I'm still not so sure. I'm going to have to keep an eye on her. I feel like she might have some kind of an agenda.
Is that how you felt about me when you were teaching me the rules of society?
No, but
Go
I
on,
had
put
a
your damn
different
clothes on!
I had a different feeling from you than I get from her. It's just something in my gut. I think I trusted you a lot more from the beginning.
Okay, well, you guys are
Yes.
kind of under your own initiative, so let me know when you want to move on.
I'm waiting to see if Kawa has anything to say. Apparently not.
Nope.
Well, I've said about all I had to say.
Okay, so presumably you relax there for a little while and then head back to the castle?
Yep.
Or how about this? You relax there for a while, and then about an hour and a half later, a tiger shark in a tuxedo and a little busboy hat swims up. And he says, Your presence is requested back at the castle. They've prepared a feast in your honor. Would you be so kind as to attend the feast?
Yes, we are on our way.
Very good. If you would like, we can also provide you with more appropriate accoutrement for your time here in the ocean. I can't imagine what you're wearing now is terribly comfortable or easy to get around in.
Are you planning to change your armor or leave it on?
I'll change my clothes.
That would be much appreciated. Where should we meet?
So Rebecca,
I don't know.
Rebecca, give me a perception check real quick.
$27.
Okay. You have a message in Allo, Rebecca. All right. So.
Talking behind my back, eh?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh no.
So the two of you follow the tiger shark back. He shows you to a pair of rooms and says, "These should be yours for the remainder of your stay, if they please you." They're laid out on the bed, and it's like actually floating a couple of feet above the bed, because it's underwater. All the garments of which I spoke. I do hope you know how to dress yourself, but if not, I can send in a servant to assist you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I know how to dress myself.
Very good. I shall be waiting here in the hall. Simply exit and let me know when you're ready, and I shall guide you to the banquet room.
Okay. So I get dressed and head to the banquet room?
I put my clothes on.
Okay. So the two of you head to the banquet. And so, let me switch maps real quick. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Okay, Kai Hebi, you are at this seat. Oh, you're over here. Princess is next to this. Dragon guy. He's over here. So you guys are arranged at the table. And so the Dragon Lord, his topics of conversation they start out largely about news. He's definitely very interested in any sort of news that you have about the politics and goings on in Japan on the mainland. Well, it's a large island, but you get the idea. The island, the dry land. And the food is great. It's all very nautical. So there's crab and squid and fish and seaweed and various other foods.
Like eating at Captain Nemo's table, right?
Yes, it's a lot like that. Everything is completely sea-based. And it's a little interesting eating it first. You have to practice. You realize that you've kind of taken it for granted. You'd started getting used to the water as if it were just air. But then as you started eating, you realized that you were just filling up your stomach with all this seawater, which was not fun. So you had to start practicing, you put the food in your mouth and then you squeeze all of the water out before you start chewing and swallowing. There's various alcoholic libations in sealed horns, and so you kind of just suck on one end to get the alcohol out. It's nothing that you are familiar with at all. It's slightly salty, but as you drink it, you begin to really enjoy it quite a bit. And by partway through the feast, you're actually pretty not fully drunk, but a lot more buzzed than you had originally intended to be. And so there's entertainment, there's whatever the fish equivalent of dancing is, and there's music, and at one point there's a stand-up comedy show where a seal starts making jokes, and most of them just go straight over your head. You don't get them, but some of them are quite funny. And as the evening is kind of wearing down, the ocean dragon, who's actually more drunk even than you are, he seems to have had a good old time. He's been laughing and pounding on the table throughout the evening, and so he kind of leans in toward you, Akai Heavy, and he says, my twin brother, the river dragon, said you had a stick up your butt and weren't any fun. He was wrong.
Your brother said what?
You're a right good fella. I tell you what, my daughter's been talking to me, and she had an idea that I thought was crazy at first, but the more I get to know you, the more I feel like maybe it could work. So here it is. I'll just put it to you. My daughter suggested that perhaps an arranged marriage between the two of you would be beneficial to all parties involved. You are going on to great things. In fact, you are going to need the backing strong enough to take over the entirety of Japan. Now, I'm not always up to date on politics, but I'm pretty sure that the Byakuran clan is far too small and insufficiently armed to really take over Japan in any meaningful way. But I think, with my backing, you'd have a chance. And with that, between that and the blessing and approval of Amaterasu, I think you'd be nigh on unstoppable. So, what do you say? You want to be my son-in-law? The dragon princess is quiet throughout the speech, but is kind of looking at you from under her eyelashes, trying not to seem too overly interested, but still clearly hanging on your
She's
response.
sexy.
I looked
You
at-
saw the picture.
What?
I said, she's sexy. You saw the picture.
I look at Kawa. What's Kawa's expression?
Blank.
Like, blank.
She's like 2 seats away from me. She probably doesn't even hear what's going on.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly broadcasting it to the room.
Would it be possible to have a little bit of time to think it over?
Of course. You're planning on staying here for a week, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And it's been quite enjoyable so far.
Oh, very good. Please just let me know if there's. Sorry, breathing spit.
Don't die! Breathe! Breathe!
Please just let me know if there's anything that you want to do while you're in my kingdom, and I can certainly make it happen.
If the need arises, I shall certainly let you know.
Okay. There you go. The princess is
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Nothing.
What'd you
Making
say?
a gay joke.
Eek.
So the princess is definitely trying to hide it, but it's obvious that she's a bit disappointed in your reticence. But she doesn't press the matter any further this evening. Yeah, so it goes on for a bit. It's definitely enjoyable, and then as the evening wears on, it's been dark outside for several hours. The feast is finally called to an end, and you guys are led back to your rooms. I may have gotten rid of it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. There you are.
Where is Kawa's room here?
Directly next to yours.
Okay. How drunk am I?
That's kind of up to you. You were pretty well tipsy, and then you had a couple more hours to get as drunk as you wanted to be after that.
He's so drunk, he's pissing in the hallway.
I was actually thinking that, like, after my potential father-in-law, basically proposed his daughter to I probably cut back on how much I was drinking.
Okay.
So I'm probably still buzzed, but not like drunk.
Yeah, like at this point, you're just vaguely buzzed.
Okay, well, I'm going to go find Kawa's room. Do I know which room is Kawa's?
Yeah, you were there when the tiger shark went, "These two are your rooms."
Boom, boom, boom.
Come!
I go inside. Are you naked?
Probably not naked. Probably in whatever night clothes or my under things. Like, I'm not fully dressed, but not naked.
Well, I'm probably not phased, considering how many times I've seen you naked. This is nothing. Well, Kawa, did you hear what the Dragon Lord had to say to me tonight?
I was 2 partiers down and across the table from you. Unless he was announcing it to the room, I couldn't really hear much.
Seems that his daughter thinks that she and I would be a good match for an arranged marriage. He was offering that I could marry his daughter and that I could basically have their forces at my disposal when I try to unite Japan. I was pretty sure that she had something going on in that brain of hers. I could feel it. I wasn't quite sure that it was going to be this.
Well, you can't deny that most women who see you have that sort of thing on their mind. It's not exactly like it's difficult for you to go into a room and find someone who's interested in you.
Find someone what? You cut out.
Who is interested in you.
I hadn't quite noticed.
You never wondered at how easy it was to get someone in your bed.
Someone or some fish.
Yeah, at least I'm not out schmoozing with the dolphins right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a pair of dolphins humping outside Rebecca's window, though. Like throughout this whole conversation.
I think they're following Kawa. Just like the humping dolphins keep following Kawa around, like, I wonder if she'll be our third.
And if you look out the window, they make awkward eye contact and start making eyebrows.
Oh my goodness. So I told the Dragon Lord, oh, I pulled the shutters so I can't see the dolphins.
There are no shutters.
Oh,
There isn't even glass. You could swim right out the window.
I hang something in front of the window?
On what? This is underwater, remember?
It's like a hole in the coral.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. You plaster something over it, and it mostly kind of sits there.
So I told the Dragon Lord that I needed some more time to think about it. The hardest thing is that while I could use the forces that he promised from the sea, I'm not sure that I want to enter into an arranged marriage right now.
You had never thought of it as a possibility. Isn't it the norm in this culture? Especially as you attempt to work your way up the social ladder.
I was kind of wondering what you thought of the idea.
Well, you can't deny that having his forces at your disposal would be useful if you were interested in following the course you're currently set on. So I suppose it really comes down to what you want in life and what you intend to pursue. Don't chew on your headphones, Wayne.
Now, I will point
Sorry,
out that this is also not at all a monogamous culture.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things easier.
I mean, if you remember, your mother was not your father's only wife. She was a concubine.
Yeah. Then why is Kawa always so jealous? You want me all to your lonesome?
Are you saying that in character?
No.
What are you expecting me to answer?
Oh. It is a little distracting that Charles is crying so much.
It's not
What's
too
up with
bad. He's
him?
actually fairly quiet, so at least
No, I meant-
recording-wise.
It's distracting to me because I'm having that reaction that parents get where
I fed him
the
and I
baby
changed
crying
his
raises
diaper
the
and I
heart.
put him down in the swing to try to go to sleep, so.
Yep.
Okay. Plus, I'm fighting brain fog as it is, so
Yep.
between the brain fog and him crying, it's very, hard to focus on the roleplay.
Okay, well, try to do it.
Trying to.
So you said
Yeah.
that should make it easier.
So you think that I should accept?
It's not really my place to advise you on what you should or shouldn't do. It's not exactly like I understand anything that goes on with you people.
Well, what if I was interested in someone else? Should I try to become wed to both of them? Or all of them? Or, not that I have anyone in particular in mind.
Well, I must point out that I'm not exactly an expert in these things, but it does seem that in your culture, one tends to marry the woman or partner that propels them up the social ladder and sleep with whoever else they wish. Wait, stop watching the TV.
I'm thinking. I'm not even watching the TV.
Okay, so Akahebi is deep in thought. He returns back to his room and sleeps.
No, I just sit there. I just sit there on her bed, thinking.
For how long?
For about 20 minutes. Unless you do something.
Oh, not really.
You swim out the window and join the dolphins.
Well, thank you for your after 20 minutes. 20 minutes later.
Oh man, that must have been the most awkward 20 minutes.
Well, thank you for your input, Kawa.
Oh, anytime. You know I'm always here to help you in whatever way you need.
In whatever way I need.
Have I not been at your beck and call ever since you found me?
Yes, you have. You've been quite loyal, and I appreciate that very much. That's why I feel a need to, that's why I like to talk to you when things are complicated.
Well, yes. Any way I can help. Anything at all.
This is the most awkward roleplay I've ever done.
I feel like Akahebi is really fighting a boner right now.
I go back to my room, and I sleep, and I hope that I don't sleep about foxes. I dream about foxes.
All right.
That's where I say, I go to sleep, and I hope I don't dream about foxes. GM, you dream about foxes.
Well, duh. What did you think you dreamed about? Cotton candy?
Kawa. I should dream about having a three-way with the princess and Kawa.
And then they both no. Kawa turns into a fox and the princess turns into a fish. And then the fox eats the fish. And then you wake up. That's what happens.
No.
Okay, so
Well, that's what happened.
the next morning, after you kind of go through your routine, you've given some breakfast, etc. The king invites you to go out hunting with him.
Both of us, or just Kahebi?
Just Akahebi.
I accept.
Okay. Kawa, you're free to do what you want, so let me know if you want to do anything while he's gone.
I accept, but I ask if Kawa can join us.
I suppose so, though this is generally an all-male thing, the testosterone and man versus nature and all that.
I guarantee you that Kawa can hold her own with the men.
Oh, of course she can. My daughter can kick your ass. But that doesn't change the fact that it's just generally the way these type of trips go,
Ah, yes. Kawa comes from a different upbringing, as it were. I think she would.
Am I here for all of this?
Yes, you're here.
I thought no.
No, she was there.
I'm not talking so freely about Kawa then. But yes, I asked if she could come. I defended her a little bit, and then now I'm accepting the fact that he says she could come.
So Carla bows politely to both of you and says, "Thank you for your great offer, but I do believe I'll let the men enjoy this. It does seem to be the way of society." And she bows out of the room.
Okay. So, Kaihebi, you, several shark soldiers, and the king all kind of suit up, and each of you mount some sort of fish that is larger than you, and take off into the ocean, some ways away from the castle. You travel about an hour and a half out, and then you descend deep down, and he says, what?
I just want to point out that I do not mount a dolphin.
Okay, you do not mount a dolphin. It's a hammerhead. You're on a hammerhead.
Nice.
And so the king says, I would imagine you are rather curious as to what we're hunting today.
Yes, actually I am. I suppose there aren't any foxes around here.
Under the ocean? God, no. That's an odd question to ask. Don't know of any water-breathing foxes, do you?
I was making a joke.
You land folk are always making obscure references I don't understand. You'll have to forgive me.
Oh,
I'm sure
there was never anything to have been forgiven.
Yes, well, we are hunting a great squid. And then as he says that,
How
go
great
ahead
is
and
it?
make a reflex save.
Hey, Rebecca,
What?
make a reflex save. You said?
Yeah, you need to make a reflex save, Lane.
Excuse me.
Okay, you feel some water kind of moving and brushing unusually past the back of your neck. So you spin quickly and then duck as an enormous tentacle whips out of the darkness and almost plucks you from the back of your hammerhead.
How great are we talking about?
Its tentacle is thicker than your leg.
Yeah, but that was the question I posed to him.
You're asking it again after the tentacle came at you?
Well, I could see the tentacle, but I mean, I know that it's big, but I don't know how big the overall squid is.
Okay. And he says, pretty damn great if you ask me. Kalukale, we'll win the day. Off. And he charges.
Kalukale.
Yes, he says Kalukale. We'll win the day.
Did he chortle it in joy?
Obviously. And he blows into a conch shell and shouts for a charge, and everyone immediately speeds off in the direction that the tentacle whipped out from.
I follow them.
Okay. As you get in,
all I can see is King River.
King River.
As you enter into the inky blackness from whence the tentacle came, after a few moments, you feel this luminous light coming from your left, and you look over and you see an enormous eye the size of you.
I feel the light. I don't see it. I feel it.
Yes. No, you do. Somehow, strangely, you don't see the light, but you feel it as it prickles along your skin.
So upon seeing the eyeball, I think to myself, well, here's my chance to get the beast. So I tried to stab at thee.
Okay, roll an attack.
Okay. It's gone right now. The turtle turned into a woman, and the woman wants to marry your daddy's character.
Attacks.
OMG.
Oh. Yeah, you miss.
Well, can I do my second attack?
Sure. How are you rolling so badly?
I don't know.
Okay, so evidently you're just not at all familiar with fighting underwater. So you attack twice, both of them going wide, missing the eye and sticking into other parts of it that are rather thick. But your attacks did give away its location, and the rest of the hunting party quickly descend upon it. And several furious hours of combat ensue, with 3 or 4 of the hunters never to return back to the Ocean Kingdom. But eventually, you and the king and the various hunters are able to put the creature down, despite its attempts to disappear into a cloud of ink. And as its last few thrashing moments subside, the king elbows you good-naturedly and says, "Aha! Now that was a fight." And so you are definitely tired and completely out of breath at this point. The king seems almost entirely unfazed. You stare at him awkwardly. And then you giggle like a schoolgirl.
I suppose I will help them get the carcass back to the place that they're taking it.
Yeah, so ropes are quickly lashed around various parts of it, and you begin the trek to drag it back. So the king makes sure that his fish, which is an enormous killer whale, is tied up rather near yours. And so on the way back, he says, "Well, there's nothing like a good night's rest and defeating a worthy enemy to clear one's head. You wouldn't happen to have come to any decisions, have you?"
Actually, I haven't, and I hope that you won't take any offense to that. I think your daughter is. I have to make one tonight.
Yes.
In game.
Yes. Well, not in. You know, if you're not.
I stare awkwardly. No.
Okay.
I actually will answer and say yes.
Well, I mean, you don't have to now. We can fast forward to when you do if you want different timing.
No, that's okay.
Well, then why did you say no the first time?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's up to you.
I'm alive.
I know, I was beginning to wonder.
I just said that I said yes.
And then there was some back and forth, and then I said it's up to you, so clearly an indication that you needed to make your final decision and let me know what was happening.
As I understood it, Rebecca's character and I were supposed to end up having a thing, and I don't know how this is going to affect that. So I was trying to give it some time to actually think about it.
Well, like I said, if you want more time, then that's fine. You have a week here before you have to make a final decision.
Cool.
All right, so you return back to the castle. Kawa, did you do anything in particular you want to talk about while they were gone?
Did you mute your microphone? Because I can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, I can't hear her either.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I sharpened my weapons and found the library and read some books.
Okay. So you
Or whatever
return to
suffices as a
find
library.
Kawa in a library reading books.
So, yeah, no.
Well, I see you've returned, and from the sounds of the festivities, I would presume that you were successful in hunting down for.
That we were. Well, at least they were. I tried my best to help, but I think I must be too new at hunting giant squid.
Well, I'm glad to see you returned alive. It sounded as though that was a question in this particular pursuit.
I take Kawa off to the side and say, he was asking me if I want to marry his daughter again.
Well, it sounds as though you should make a decision on that subject.
It's a little bit complicated, but I suppose I should. I'll go back over to the king and say, do you have a moment to speak with me in private?
So he's in the middle of making some. So he's presiding over something. So you're not actually able to approach him directly, but he does have one of his servants tell you that he should be available in about half an hour.
Okay.
So
I'm going to go enjoy some of the hot water baths that he jig.
Okay. So after about 45 minutes or so, the king actually comes out wearing nothing but a towel and kind of joins you, and promptly takes the towel off after getting settled, and then says, "All right, so you wanted to see me? What can I do for you?"
No, I wanted to discuss the offer that you had given me about your daughter.
Okay. It's certainly a subject that I have a great deal of interest in, so I'm happy to listen. What do you need?
Suppose that I found the prospect of marrying your daughter to be very enticing, but that I also cared for someone else. How would you feel about being the father-in-law to someone that wanted to pursue more than just your daughter?
Well, how many wives do you think I have? Or have
I
had?
haven't seen any. I have not seen any.
Oh, you've seen some.
So I wouldn't know.
Oh, they've been
Oh,
around.
I have?
They've been around.
I have?
Oh, yeah.
Well, did I know? Okay. How many does he have?
You don't know?
So I asked.
Well, that depends. Are you talking about how many I have right now, or how many have I had ever?
How many do you have right now?
Yeah, somewhere around 46, I think. No, wait.
How do you keep track of that? How many women?
Well, I have
many women.
I have a great memory. Not to mention, I have an excellent butler who's in charge of keeping track of their anniversaries and birthdays so that I don't forget any. You know how women are about those sorts of things.
I think that might be a good tip. I'll have to keep that in mind. Okay, well, in that case, I have no qualms
Well, very
about
well.
marrying your daughter.
I suppose we'll set the wedding up for, let's say, the day after tomorrow.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
We can serve that giant squid as the main course. What do you say, old buddy?
I get the feeling that was your plan all along.
Guilty as charged.
A joke that kind of made its mark.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a general
I didn't realize how acceptable or unacceptable non-monogamy was in this character, for one. For two, Rebecca has played the character as being pretty jealous, so I just didn't want to mess anything up.
I know, you just have to make decisions and then figure out their consequences as you go.
Yeah, but I'd like to have everything tied up nice and neat with a little bow.
Yep, that's gonna happen. All right. So then, yeah, things progress quickly. The castle becomes immediately abuzz with activity. People and fish and aquatic mammals coming and going at all hours.
You can rock him.
As the entire castle is done over in beautiful white fauna and stones and coral, giving it a bright and festive air.
Okay, so I have a question.
Look at him looking at me.
Is it done over in fauna, which is animals, or flora?
Both. I mean, this is the ocean. I mean, think about it. Like, coral is technically fauna.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, it's both.
I think Charlie is happy to see his daddy.
Oh.
He's smiling at me.
Yeah, and Kai Heavy, you're very busy being taught the various parts of the ceremony that you'll be expected to do, vows that you're expected to repeat, all of that sort of information.
Before it gets to all of that, I think that I would probably tell Kawa first what was going on. Or what is going on.
Okay.
So what is Kawa's reaction to me saying that I've accepted the proposal?
Well, it sounds as if you've made a very wise choice. One couldn't argue with the outcome that such a union would create.
Cool. That's not my character. I wanted to know what your reaction. Okay, now we're getting all prepared.
Okay. So about midday on the next day, Kawa, the king comes up to you and says, and he looks rather perplexed and perturbed. And he says, "There's something I need to show you. You'll have to come without a Kai Heavy. I don't think he's going to want to see this."
Alright.
Alright, so, Wayne, well, I guess I'm going to leave it up to both of you. You guys can decide. So, major spoilers coming up. So, do you want to stay here, Wayne, and find out and then try not to metagame? Or do you want to, go in the other room, take off your headphones, and stay in the dark?
I do have a question, though. We're supposed to play again tomorrow. Would it be better to wrap this session up and you and I can discuss it and then...
No, this is something that needs to be on the recording.
Okay, I think Wayne should be in the dark.
Yeah. That's the same.
Okay. Then go ahead and let me know when everything is good to go, and Kawa and I will continue.
Okay. I'll just leave the Discord and yeah. Let's see, how do I...
Is he gone?
No.
I can't figure out how to get out of Discord.
Well, you're wearing headphones, right?
Close the whole Discord app.
Yeah.
Well, if you're wearing headphones, unplug your headphones and walk into another room.
Figured it would switch to
The phone's audio.
Yeah, just leave, like, close the Discord app, baby. And here, take your son. Alright, you're done.
So
He's gone.
Okay, cool. So the king leads you back into some areas of the castle that you've only skulked around briefly. They seemed to be basements and storage rooms, that sort of thing. And he leads you deep into the castle and opens the door to a room with a large key. And opens the door, and inside there seems to be a figure covered in a white sheet floating in the center of the room.
Okay.
So he gestures.
Hang on. We can still hear Charles crying.
I know, I'm trying to fix it. That's what I'm saying. There's no way to do.
it, and it stays written in the background.
And I was
trying to find out how to get out of it. Usually when I end Discord on my phone, I have to like restart my phone to get it to stop listening.
Restart your phone?
Okay. I just figured out to be an easier
Neither of us use it on the phone, so I don't know.
You could also just not bring the phone with him.
That's what I thought, but he took it. So I'm going to lift the sheet.
Okay. So you raise the sheet, and underneath is Akai Hebi.
Oh.
Dead. Very much dead. So the king kind of steps up and says, You had asked that we search the coastline for your missing friend, and I can't imagine this is her, based on your description, but I think what we found was actually even more problematic.
Yes, that is definitely something I'm going to need your help looking into. I had noticed a few changes, one of which surprised me quite a bit. If you remember, if your servants gave you the description of the person you were looking for, the stylized flame tattoo on her hip.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember.
It would seem that that tattoo was on Akai Hebi when we were in the bathing area.
I see. Then I'm afraid I have a pretty good idea what's happened to Akai Hebi. Your friend from before, the one with the flame tattoo, she must have been a rather peculiar sort of spirit, known as a brood parasite or a cowbird. Are you familiar with the cowbird?
I believe that is the one who lays their eggs in another bird's nest to be raised by someone else.
That is correct. These brood parasite spirits act in a similar way, except they actually replace the lives of others, taking on their physical, mental, and really all aspects of their lives, with only very subtle clues as to their not truly being the same person. In fact, they don't even realize what they've done. I can't imagine that the brood parasite out there realizes that it is not, in fact, a Kai heavy.
That does make it of his.
Yes, indeed. That's why I needed to bring you in.
It raises another question: whether you wish to continue the marriage or seek a solution.
Well, I personally don't see any reason not to continue the marriage. As I said, the brood parasite essentially becomes the person they replace, and so that includes their fate and what should have become of them. That brood parasite is now the one blessed by Amaterasu, and it has only half of their heart, and I would imagine when I give it a piece of the piece of its heart that I own, it will meld back in just as it should.
That's good to hear.
So the question.
Wayne's
back.
He's gonna go water Dad's plants and stuff, but he's in the room for a second. So
Okay. Let me know when you're ready again.
Alright, I'm ready again.
Okay. So now the question is, are there going to be true drops of poison used at this wedding? But that's something Kawa is going to need to determine.
Meaning, am I going to try to kill them both, or?
I mean, that's Megane. Technically. I mean, it's also a Kai heavy. But it's also technically Megane.
Yeah, let's go ahead and kill them both.
All right. So I think we will probably wrap up there for this session. I don't think we need to do anything so pressing that it's worth waiting for Wayne to return from watering plants. So do you want to go ahead and just wrap up here?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, thank you for playing with me. And we'll go ahead and skip the what did we learn bit, because what you learned is the things that just happened in the last couple of minutes. And Wayne's not here to answer the other side of that. So thanks for playing, and I will see you guys again next session.